the highly nutritious superfood cousin to potatoes, I was all ears. Oh, pun intended. Oh wait, no, that's ear of corn. Yes, potatoes have eyes, not ears. Okay, start over. Growing up, I knew sweet potatoes as that really weird casserole my grandma would make at Thanksgiving time, and it wasn't my favorite. And it wasn't until a few years ago that I tried a sweet potato fry for the first time, and I was like, oh my goodness, where have you been all my life? It was so good. When I had my digestive inflammation overload back in 2019, sweet potatoes literally saved me. I could simply steam them and serve them with a little bit of butter and salt on top. They were easily digestible and they tasted good and they gave me the calories that I needed. And honestly, it almost makes me feel emotional just talking about it. One of my favorite ways to eat sweet potatoes now is actually as sweet potato chips. Let me grab an example. One of my family's favorites are these sweet potato corn tortilla chips. But if you look at the ingredients, the first ingredient was organic corn flour, and then organic sunflower oil, and then we have organic sweet potato powder. And with these sweet potato chips, if you look at the ingredients, sweet potatoes are number one, and the next ingredient is expeller pressed canola oil and or safflower oil and or sunflower oil and sea salt. What I love most is making my own sweet potato chips because they start with a sweet potato. I slice them thin and then I mix them in a little bit of olive oil and then I cook them in my air fryer. I'll start by simply peeling the skin off the sweet potato. And then to make the thin slices, you can either do them by hand or you can use one of my favorites, which is a mandolin slicer. And I love this one because it's made out of stainless steel and you just lower this little handle right here. And then it has a surface here that you can adjust with this little dial and you can control how thick the slices are going to be as they slide through. So I'm going to make these really thin, like a little bit less than even 1/8 of an inch. And then using a knife, just cut off the end so it's nice and flat. And then you simply slide it along the cutter. Runaway sweet potato. And then you get these perfectly sliced thin sweet potato chips. Now as I'm slicing and the sweet potato gets smaller and smaller, I'm going to use the safety grip here. You can just poke into the top. Okay, actually it works better if we cut the end off of it first. There we go. Then we'll just push that right on top. And then we can continue slicing with our hand protected. Now we have all these perfectly sliced sweet potato chips. Those are so cute. All right, so now we're going to make our seasoning mixture. So we'll start with just a stainless steel bowl. And then I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And then to season this, I'm going to start with 1/2 teaspoon of paprika. And these don't have to be exact. And then we'll do 1/4 teaspoon of onion powder, as well as some garlic powder, 1/4 teaspoon of some salt, and we'll add 2 teaspoons of some thyme leaves, give some extra flavor, and a dash of pepper. And then we'll just give that a mix. And it's much easier to mix all this together before we put the sweet potato slices in. Okay, that's all mixed. So now we're going to take about 1/2 of these and we'll just drop them into our mixture here. And I find it works best to just use my hands. I just get in there and start mixing them around because we want all those slices to be coated in a little bit of the oil and the seasoning. And then once those are all coated, we're going to get our tray for our air fryer. And then we're going to take one at a time, and we're just going to lay these out. They can be slightly overlapping inside of our tray. And the way the air fryer works is the air circulates around the sweet potatoes, so we want to make sure that that air can get through, and then it's going to cook them for us. So you can see with a medium to large size sweet potato, you're going to have to do this in a couple of batches. So I usually do it when I'm in the kitchen making some other things. so that I can keep an eye on these and keep running batches while I'm also cooking something else. It's just the multitasker in me. Now this can go into our air fryer. We're going to cook it at 350 degrees for 10 minutes. And then we'll take a look at them and see if we need to move things around. So my temperature is set to 350. We'll set our timer down to 10 minutes and off it goes. The air fryer just went off, so we're going to take a look and see how our chips are doing. Ooh, those look really good. So what we're looking for is that they are cooked all the way around. And as I'm moving them, you can see that they're still pretty, these ones here that have a lot of orange, but here on the edge, that one is a little more cooked. So once they get that brown, I go ahead and pull them out. So if they're about halfway, I'll pull them. But the rest of these, I think could go just a little bit longer. So we'll separate them, make sure none are overlapping. There we go. So now we're going to put these back in for about 2 minutes. Okay, those look great. Go ahead and dump these out. So as these sit, as they come out, right now they're just a little bit soft, but as they kind of cool off, they're going to harden and crisp up a little bit more. So we'll give those a second. And what I would do now is put the rest of my sweet potatoes into my bowl. I might need to make up a little bit more of the mixture and then line my tray again and put them right back inside. It's been less than a minute and they're already starting to crisp up and they're just nice and thin. They have this great texture. And now for the best part. But before I eat these, I want to get my favorite dip to eat them with. This is my white bean Parmesan garlic dip that I made in a previous video. And this by far is my favorite way to eat my sweet potato chips. I can just take them and dip them in and it's so yummy. So good. And when you combine them with this dip, which has beans and Greek yogurt, and then you get the sweet potatoes of the chips, you have 3 superfoods. So this is about as nutrition as a snack can get. And bonus, it's anti-inflammatory and it's easily digestible. Do my happy dance. Oh, so I will say, these taste best when you eat them fresh. If there are any left over when you make these, you can store them in an airtight container just in your pantry. And then when you do get them out, the moisture in there will soften them a little bit. And so all you do is pull out your air fryer, put these back into the tray, and then just cook them for about 2 minutes at 350 and they'll warm and crisp up again for you. And I don't feel guilty about spoiling my dinner because this is super healthy.